Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. All of you are familiar with Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, silver certificates, gold certificates, legal tenders, treasury notes, continentals, colonials. You know about foreign notes. The one military payment certificates, but the ones that everybody seems to ignore the most are fractionals. There are a limited number of fractionals, and if you tried to put together the entire set, you'll find that there are only a couple that are hard to get price wise, but they're all readily available. And if you go in lower condition, you can put together the majority of the set. I bet you can put together the entire set. There's probably, how many were there? I don't even remember off the top of my head. There's probably 20 or 30 different types of fractionals, and you could probably put the entire set together for under $500 if you went low enough in condition. They're readily available. People don't know a whole lot about them. The people who do know understand the value, but often you're going to find them in auctions at a reasonable price. So I'm always scooping up fractionals whenever I can find them. I think it's an underrated, undervalued section of the hobby. And yeah, that's my tip for this week. All right, here's my 1,000 on singles. Let's get these out of the way. Take a look at what I found. Starting off, found a Where's George note. Where's George is a tracking site. You simply type the number in and it will tell you where the note has been. If you stamp a Where's George note and log it, the next time someone else logs it, you'll get an email telling you where that note has traveled to. Even if you just find one and type in the number, if you subscribe to Where's George, which is free, you will then get updated when that note resurfaces. Not a lot of people choose to actually type in the stuff at Where's George, so sometimes it could take a while, or sometimes the note will end up just getting sent to the reserve and shredded, and you may never hear from it again. If you send out enough of these, you will start to get returns. There is no additional value for Where's George notes. Some people try to sell these for like $7 a piece, and that's crazy. Putting a stamp on a note does not increase its value. If it did, I would just go to the bank, stamp every single one of these 1,000 notes with Where's George, and then sell them for $7,000. But that's not how it works. Anyway, Where's George note, I will be logging this one. Found another Where's George note, different stamp, so it's a different person. I'll log that as well. Found some trinaries, 5s, 8s, and 9s, 2s, 4s, and 7s. Of course, no additional value, especially when I'm showing you this many that I found. If I find this many this week and every week, no, they are not rare, not hard to find. 0s, 5s, and 8s, 0s, 4s, and 8s, 6s, 7s, and 8s. For those people who say a true trinary is worth money, a true binary is 0s and 1s. That is the binary system, 0s and 1s, binary code for computers. People are trying to say that 0s, 1s, and 2s qualify as a true trinary, and those are harder to get than a regular trinary. No, they aren't. What I'm saying is, here are 6s, 7s, and 8s. 3 numbers right next to each other. And 6s, 7s, and 8s are just as hard to find and just as rare as 0s, 1s, and 2s. There is no specialness about 6s, 7s, and 8s, just like there is no specialness for 0s, 1s, and 2s. People love to say, oh no, 0s, 1s, and 2s, those are the lowest ones. Well, then 7s, 8s, and 9s are the highest ones. If it's good on the low side, it should be good on the high side, and it's not. It's a way that they are trying to make something sound scarce. If you pick any 3 digits, it doesn't have to be 6s, 7s, and 8s. It doesn't have to be 0s, 1s, and 2s. It could very well just be 0s, 4s, and 8s. There are just as many 0s, 4s, and 8s combinations as there are 0s, 1s, and 2s. So no, true trinaries aren't a thing. Stop calling them that. They are not worth anything. Don't buy them. Don't sell them. They are worthless. All right. Quads. Quads are almost as easy to find as trinaries. I find them every week. Therefore, they are not rare. It's quad 5s there, quad 7s, quad 8s. Stars, 2017 A star note. Check to see if they're filled. Another 2017 A, 2017 A. 2017, it's a star. Oh, and it's got a wedding transfer. It must be worth $1 million. No, that just happens. In fact, this was not pressed into the bill, so it, over the course of time, is likely to just chip off or fade away because it was not imprinted that way. There was no paper forced into the grooves. It was just wedding transfer. No big deal. Not worth anything. 2017, 2013, another 2013, 2013B. All right. Now, 2013B had the duplicate series, and you hear me say it all the time, only certain numbers were part of the duplicate series. People are asking ridiculous money. I mean, are they worth 20 bucks a piece? Sure. Why not? That's what the going rate is right now. But the thing is, there are over 13 million of the duplicated notes. That's not really that rare. 13 million. A print run of 13 million is not rare. There are less notes that weren't duplicated. So, in theory, shouldn't those be the ones worth more money? I mean, yeah, if you find the two duplicate notes with the same serial number, I understand why those are worth money. But if you don't have the pair, why would they be worth anything? There's 13 million of them. so this, to me, seems like it should be worth more money. And you know something? 20 years down the road, I bet that's the case. I bet 20 years down the road, people are going to be struggling to find these because nobody saved them. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Another 2013, this one is in rough shape. Then the older notes, 2003A, 2003A, with a teller stamp, not an error, not worth anything. 2003A, rough shape, another 2003, 2003A, 2003A. Here's a 2003. I pull these because they're 20 years old or older, not in the greatest of shape. But as you may have seen from one of my other videos, you can find some interesting stuff if you save them. And once you've checked all the things, yeah, then throw them back in circulation if they're in rough shape. Another 2003, another one, so they're still readily available. Somebody wrote on that one, so that's definitely going away. Another 2003, then we get to the 2001s. 2001, actually pretty crisp, 1999, 99, 95, not a web note. And the oldest note I found, this was from 1981, and it actually still has some crispness to the paper, so that's pretty cool. All right, so what did I pull up this week? This week, I have a note that is actually quite rare. This is, you can see, fractional currency. This is from the Civil War. Actually, this is from just after the Civil War. During the Civil War, people were hoarding change. They were hoarding precious metals, and they didn't want to spend them. That made commerce very difficult. Prices were much cheaper then than they were now, so people had need for change. But with people hoarding copper and silver, it made commerce difficult. So the federal government stepped up and talked to the post office and came up with what was called postal currency. And after Series 3 of postal currency, they changed it over to fractional currency, and they were printing paper money that was anywhere from 3 cents to 5 cents, all the way up to 50 cents. And people were using that for change. This is from the 4th series. And if we look at the back here, you can see it does have a little bit of a tape mark here. It's 50-cent fractional currency. And this was designed to be spent, not designed to be collected. That's why when you wanted to cash them in, you had to have at least $3, and let's see, and not more than $5 if you wanted to cash them out. Otherwise, they were just supposed to be spent. So you weren't going to be taking these, you weren't going to take this and change this in for 2 quarters. You had to have $3 worth of these before you could change them in. That was the point, though, to keep them circulating. Now, this particular one, though, is kind of interesting. I'm going to pull out the big book for this one. I've got Paper Money of the United States, which, of course, handles fractionals, and you can see it right there. Now, if we look, the notes above it, There's the Lincoln 50 cent, and that starts out at $200. That was replaced with the Stanton, the man with the beard, the greatest beard on currency. That starts out at $25. And these are all from the fourth issue. Okay. And then if we look, we've got the note that I'm featuring now, which is the bust of Samuel Dexter, who was the secretary of both the War and Treasury Departments from 1800 to 1801. And there's the full color version of the note. You can see there is only one FR number, 1379. So there was only one incarnation of this note versus other notes that had many, 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 many different designs. This one only has the one. And even so, in VG8, starts out at $70. Choice on circular, you're talking $700. So this is actually quite an expensive note. I mean, you're talking within $5 of the Stanton note. And just in comparison, here's the fifth issue. That's $25 as a starting point. Still the $700 high point, but yeah, 25, 27, 35, 75 in reasonable grades for this fifth issue. But like I said, that fourth issue, starting at $70, that's an indication that it must be a little bit on the rare side. And by virtue of the fact that there's only one FR number, makes it easy to get because that's it. That's the only one. But generally speaking, when you see these notes, you're going to see people starting them at auction for $1. And generally speaking, if they're in a little bit rougher shape, like this one was because of that tape mark, people will sell these dirt cheap, even though in a grade 8, they are $70. So yeah, just something to keep in mind when you're scrolling through eBay. Look for these untouched gems like that because they're out there. And it's a great way to fill a set that a lot of people are either unaware of or not currently collecting. All right, guys, if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.